Hi. Today I'll talk about a couple of things that Dad did to earn a bit of extra money. He did have, for a time, a sort of evening and the occasional Saturday job, um, driving a taxi, private hire, for a private hire firm. Um, that was a little bit later on. Um, it was he said it was sort of okay as an actual job, but the real bonus was the weddings. When you got a wedding on a Saturday, because you get quite good tips usually. um, I think he only stopped doing it. I think the firm closed or was taken over or something. um, but he found that quite an interesting, quite an interesting job. You meet people, and it was not late at night. So he used to go 8 till 10, that sort of thing, of an evening. And as you say, perhaps one Saturday in three they'd have a wedding, that kind of a way. But earlier on, he became a member of the civil defence. He had to go to Hinckley for that, so it must have been after we had a car. They didn't get paid for being in the civil defence, but there was expenses, and the expenses were more than the actual expenses, and you could boost it a bit by two of you going together in a car, and you get an allowance for a car each, that sort of thing. Um, two things I remember particularly about it. He'd come home with homework sometimes, and one of the things that he did was that they had to um, invent a simple but, if possible, original way of coding stuff. So encrypting it then basically by um, substituting one letter for another in a creative way to send a coded message um, by Morse. Um, but not just Morse coded, but coded. And I remember as it was homework, I could help him with that. Between us, anyway, we actually sort of won the competition. He got some sort of little prize for it. I can't remember what it was. I haven't got it now, anyway. Um, so I was really, really pleased about that. When I say won, I mean that won for his little group, which was probably about 20 people, but yeah, all the same. Um, They also organised a car treasure hunt once, where you had to follow the instructions to get to a place, and then there'd be instructions to go to the next one, and so on. That, out of about 20 people, I think we came 19th. So not so good. Well, yeah, I suppose we just weren't. We went wrong at some point, and lost a lot of time. There you go. You win some, you lose some, don't you? Um, the other event was every year they'd have an annual event, and I was allowed to go to that. Two of them were allowed to go, and I was sent off in the Land Rover with a couple of other blokes to sort out the telephones. We had to run wire across this site. There was buildings here and there, one that was supposedly been blown up by this or whatever it was, and we had to set up the telephone communications with these Fyrd telephones, the ones where you had to turn the handle to make the far phone ring. I don't think you could contact from one to another. As I remember, you just basically had a phone at one end and a phone at the other, and you could call each other. But going in the Land Rover, I'd never been in a Land Rover before. That was interesting. There's sort of, it's a bit like a giant Meccano set, really, isn't it? It's sort of all bolted on bits and pieces. I remember that there was several forward gears, and there was and several reverse gears, and two ranges of gears. So you had like the higher range of gear and the lower range. So you had a sort of knob, I think, pulled up and down, attached to the gear stick, something like that. I remember that I was allowed to actually connect the wires, which is as a child was quite good. Just basically there was the two screws that tightened down on, you know, to bend the wire around, strip the wire, bend it round, and attach the cable that let me do that. So I suppose somehow maybe it's me, but in those days there was always some event to be involved in, and although the official reasoning for the civil defence was particularly in case of nuclear war, which I think, in all honesty, most ordinary people thought it was pretty well hopeless. If the bomb dropped, that was about it. But it was worth being in the civil defence because you got to learn various skills, survival kind of skills, which might be useful in any other sort of crisis. And I remember we used to have discussions with Curie over this. Curie wasn't in the civil defence, but several other friends were. But I think they used to just go and exchange ideas, really, and well, learn. I suppose that was the thing. Everything is interesting. Curie was particularly interested in electrical gadgets, and well, I don't remember any particular gadget he made, but he did make things following from these discussions. Just, I suppose it's survivalist stuff. It's a game, isn't it? Really, hopefully. So I think I'll leave that one there. Okay, bye.